Hello, public opinion aficionados, and welcome to Rasmussen Reports, where we're not afraid to poll test provocative American first policies. You know, the ones that other pollsters run away from, and the mainstream media news gaslights you as the policies just being inconceivable. And the one we're going to talk about today is Trump's recent promise to conduct mass deportations of illegal aliens in this country. And there was a collective gasp and all kinds of pearls being clutched on the mainstream media news outlets the day that Trump promised that. But is the idea really so crazy? We're going to find out. And not only that, we're going to stack up a candidate that wants to deport everybody against a candidate who wants amnesty. I bet you haven't seen numbers for a question like that before. And make sure you hold on to the end of the video where we'll, once and for all, settle the controversy of which words are the best ones to use when describing people who cross our borders in violation of the law. It's probably not what you think. Well, it is what you think, probably. But let's get to amnesty first. In general, would you support or oppose legislation to grant amnesty to illegal aliens and allow them to become permanent U.S. residents? 17% strongly support, another 24% somewhat support, for a combined total of 41%. But 12% somewhat opposed and another 41% strongly opposed, for a majority, 53%. So a majority of U.S. likely voters are against amnesty for illegal aliens. And the amount of strong oppose here is way higher than the 17% strong support. But what's interesting is the overall margin, 53% to 41%, 12 points, is identical to the most recent time that we pitted Donald Trump against Joe Biden. Now, the race numbers were pretty interesting. White voters were against amnesty, 38% to 56%, but Hispanic voters were most in favor, although it was only 50% of them, and 45% of them were opposed to amnesty. But here are the party numbers, and Republicans are overwhelmingly against amnesty, 61% strongly and another 11% somewhat, so a combined total of 72%. Versus only the 22% of Republicans who at least somewhat support amnesty. Independents are also against amnesty by a majority, 54% to 39%, and 38% of them are strongly opposed, while only 13% are strongly in favor. But look at Democrats. 60% of Democrats are in favor of amnesty. I bet you thought that number would be higher, and only 26% of them strongly support it. But 24% are strongly opposed and another 9% somewhat. So there's a combined total of 1 in 3 Democrats are against amnesty. But as we've been talking about before, in this era of extreme divisiveness, and recall that Biden did run on a platform of unity, the strongest signal of anywhere in the crosstabs is among Biden approval. And here are those numbers. 82% of Biden's strong approvers support amnesty and only 13% are against. But look at Biden's strong disapprovers. 11% are for amnesty, only 5% strongly support it. But 76% are strongly opposed and another 10% somewhat, for a combined total of 86% of Biden's strong disapprovers against amnesty. So really, your opinion of Joe Biden is the biggest determinant of where you stand on the issue of amnesty. But let's get into those deportation numbers that I promised you. Would you support or oppose a policy of deporting all illegal aliens? I use the word all in there, and that is very important because this is a really extreme policy. The one with the words amnesty in there is so much more cuter and cuddlier. So the bar is higher for this question, but people clear that bar irregardless. 54%, a majority of U.S. likely voters, at least somewhat support deporting all illegal aliens. 36% strongly support. And if you recall from the last question, only 17% of voters strongly supported amnesty, but 39% of voters are opposed to deporting all illegal aliens, but only 23%, or less than 1 in 4 Americans, are strongly opposed to it. And the strong support signal is way more than the strong opposed signal here, 36% to 23%. And it was 2-to-1 strongly opposed over strongly support in the last question. And I think the final takeaway here is that the margin is 54% support to 39% opposed, or 15 points, which is higher than the 12 points Trump had in the most recent presidential matchup. So what that tells me is that the policy of deporting all illegal aliens is actually more popular than Donald Trump. And here are the numbers by party. And not surprisingly, 76% of Republicans support deporting all illegal aliens. Only 18% are opposed, 10% strongly. But look at independents. Again, a majority of them support the American First Donald Trump position on illegal immigration. 51% of them support this, 30% strongly, and 42% are opposed, 22% strongly. But even Democrats, 38% of Democrats support deporting all illegal aliens, and only 36% of them are strongly opposed. And this isn't surprising because it's really hard for the mainstream media to cover up all those images of the huge migrant caravans, and illegal immigration is an issue that's important to most voters. It's not the most important to Democrats right now, that's abortion, but they do care about illegal immigration as well. Isn't it weird that their candidate has been the most pro-illegal immigration president of all time? Maybe, maybe not. But what's interesting here is the numbers by Biden approval. And again, this is the biggest signal of anywhere in the demographics, but nowhere near as big as the signal among Amnesty, because only 52% of Biden's strong approvers strongly oppose deporting all illegal immigrants. But 84% of Biden's strong disapprovers do support deporting all of them. But look at the somewhats. They actually all kind of lead towards the opposed column here. As far as deporting illegal aliens go, it really looks like there's only two types of people who hate Joe Biden and everyone else. But time to pit those two policies against each other. If given a choice between two candidates, one of whom favored granting amnesty to illegal aliens and one of whom favored deporting all illegal aliens, which candidate would you vote for? 36% say the amnesty candidate, but 52%, a majority, say they want a candidate who will deport all illegal aliens. And there you go. That's a 16-point margin. Again, bigger than the 12-point margin that in a five-way matchup, Donald Trump wins over Joe Biden by, which again means that deportation is more popular as a policy than Donald Trump is as a president. But here are the numbers by party. 75% to 18% Republicans would pick the deport candidate. But look at independents. They would overwhelmingly, by a 16-point margin, pick the deport candidate over the amnesty candidate. And this is one of the reasons that Joe Biden is losing big. As we've covered in our other videos, he has lost the independent vote. He's lost the Hispanic vote. He's starting to lose the black vote, and he's lost the 18 to 39-year-old vote. And most of those people are political independents. Only 35% of the electorate is Democrat right now, which means that Joe Biden can't get to a majority in the fall without winning a significant majority of the independents. And the problem for Joe Biden is that the number one and number two issues among independents are the economy and the border. And when it comes to those two issues, his policies are not perceived by independents to be helpful to them. But look at Democrats. 34% of them would actually pick a candidate that says they would deport all illegal immigrants. And only 56% of Democrats would prefer an amnesty candidate. That's a pretty big mind blower, isn't it? As we've also pointed out in recent videos, Donald Trump has a 16-point crossover advantage, which means that he earns more support among Republicans than Joe Biden earns among Democrats. And I think it's things like this that are a drag on Joe Biden's ticket. Of course, most of these Democrats will vote for Joe Biden, but his policies are not in line mostly with what they believe. But as I promised in the beginning of the video, we're going to get into the power of words, which is the best way to describe foreigners who cross the U.S. border in violation of our immigration laws. 37% say illegal alien, 26% say illegal immigrant, 10% say asylum seeker, and 22% say undocumented migrant, which according to our elite bettors is the current term du jour. And if you add up the numbers here, 63% of all US likely voters use a term that has the word illegal in it. And this gets at a topic that we've been talking about for a really long time. The loss of trust in institutions, and especially how those institutions don't reflect the actual opinions of people in this country. The government, most politicians, almost every media outlet, corporations, they all avoid using a word for those people that include illegal. But that's what most people on the street say. To me, that's a very big clue that you're the victim of a massive coordinated info op. These people are trying to use Orwellian words to make you sympathize with people that are breaking the law in ways that objectively make your life worse. My call to you is to resist that info op. Remember, these people are supposed to be working for you. If you agree or disagree, please post your thoughts in the comments at YouTube. While you're there, please like the video and subscribe, or do it at Rumble as well. Follow us on Twitter at Rasmussen_poll, and thanks for watching.